What's going on, guys? Welcome to Mot Crypto. I am your host, Luis Acevedo, and the co-host, Malcolm Reese, should be joining a little bit later. He was actually doing another podcast before this with somebody he met on Wisdom, which is it's an app that, let's see, it's like an audio app. It's basically a place where you can go and have really good conversations with people, like little podcasts, live podcasts. There have been a few of them that have tried to become something. And I guess they all have become something, but nothing has really stuck. And I don't know that Wisdom will. I got into Wisdom a little bit earlier, and it seems like a cool app. But yeah, I mean, I have no criticisms towards Wisdom. It's just something that didn't really stick with me, I guess. Which it is what it is. So yeah, that's what he's doing right now. He's built up quite a bit of a following on there, which is cool. So yeah, today we're going to be blending the traditional markets, crypto markets. So before we get into any of that, though, I want to give people some time to come on in, and then we'll jump into it. So yeah, guys, there's a few things that I've been looking at, and one of them that we'll just start talking about here is well, first off, if you haven't seen Richard Hart, the founder of multiple coins now, but the most known, well, I don't know if it's the most known, but a popular one that we talk about a lot here on the channel. Hex is, he's the founder of Hex. He's the founder of Pulse Chain and PulseX, and probably going to be the founder of some crypto wallets here in the near future, which we're going to talk a little bit about later into the show. So where I was getting at with this is that he's hiring more developers. So if you're a Solidity developer, DM Richard Hart on Telegram, and the salary starts at 175, and you can help change the crypto game potentially. So yeah, that's pretty cool. There's a lot going on in the news, obviously, because people are so afraid of World War III coming our way, which I think it is mostly a psyop. Obviously, there's a war going on, but I think it's really blown out of proportion, and we'll discuss this more for MOT today. But just to touch on it for a little bit before we jump into the meat of the conversation here, the topics rather, that's kind of my thoughts, is that a lot of it's false flags. A lot, you see a lot of prop guns, you see a lot of video game footage alleged to be real footage, and yeah, so there's a lot of fake stuff going on to get people fearful. Overall, I think that the reason for it is to prepare the narrative for domestic terrorists, and then you start some sort of new McCarthyism where you begin to blacklist fascism, or fascists rather, get people out of politics because of it. We already kind of been seeing this build up for years to come now, but this will be the big push that will make everybody aware of what's really going on. And I don't even know if they will become aware, but this will be the big thing, I think. And then also climate change, all that stuff, because gas prices are going up and people are going to be angry. As I wasn't too pleased the other day. I drive a Subaru Impreza, and it's fairly cheap on gas. But the other day, 2 days ago, I spent $50 to fill the tank, and that's a little ridiculous. I usually don't spend that much. Usually it's like $25 to fill it up. But it is what it is. This was expected, nothing out of the ordinary here, just because of the situation out over in Eastern Europe, and also the fact that we have stopped the oil production here in America, but now they want to re-amp it. They want to ramp it up again. So we'll see. But this is more of a conversation for MOT today. Yeah, so I guess we can just get right into it. So let's start off with something light before we go into some of this deeper stuff. So apparently, Ukraine has Ukraine DAO's flag NFT sells for $6.75 million. Million, a million. All right, let's share this screen for you guys really quick. Let's see here. I'm feeling pretty chill today, actually. I drank some coffee before I got on the stream here. Get a little energized before we go, because I'm working like 10, 11-hour days and then coming home and doing this. But really, the days are longer than that because, I'm doing this in the morning and at night. And anyway, but the job that I have, I'm a wage slave for the time being, but I'm working on getting out of there and building a multi-billion-dollar media company right here with MOT. So you guys are watching it right now, watching it live. Anyway, and other things going on behind the scenes. But right here, so we have Ukraine DAO's flag NFT sells for $6.75 million. Now, I read about this earlier today and was really unsure as to what this NFT was supposed to be. Why were they raising funds? And we go into this article a little bit more and we find out exactly what's going on. Let's see here. So, brainchild. So, let's see. It launched last month. Ukrainian DAO is the brainchild of Alon, whatever. I can't pronounce that name. You know, I'd like, over here where I live, where I work, rather, not where I live, where I work, there's a lot of Eastern Europeans, and you see a lot of unique, cool names. Anyway, so, oh, look at that. They're from the Pussy Riot. What? They were some freedom fighters allegedly for people in Russia. I don't know how true that is. I was personally so I don't know what the DAO does. I don't know what this is supposed to do. Is it supposed to go to the funding of the Ukrainian government, which they received like a $500,000 in Bitcoin, right? And I guess this is kind of going into what we'll be covering in a little bit. They had blocked people that were in the separatist regions from accessing their MetaMask and shit like that, which is pretty wild. So it says contributions to the DAO have come from unexpected sources. Well, of course it came from OnlyFans. Of course it did. Ukraine is like mostly known for its porn and sex trafficking. I mean, they have a freaking president that dresses like a woman and dances in front of cameras. I mean, of course it was OnlyFans. Of course it was OnlyFans. 500 ETH from its only .eth address. So they gave $1.4 million. But what are they giving the money to? Why are they giving them money? This is exactly what DAOs are for, making change offline in the real world. Did I miss something? Did I overlook this? I may have overlooked this. Let's see here. I think I did. It doesn't say. It says, thank you all. Next steps, POAP, for all those who donated to Party Bid, work with Come Back Alive, safely transferring funds. I don't know what this is for. Let's see. The decision says that all of those who donate will get a POAP NFT meant to denote an important life event. What's the important life event? Why would you donate to this? I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe I'm overlooking something, but it just seems nonsense. Like I said, I came across that earlier today, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds interesting." And then I'm reading it a little bit more, and I'm like, "What the fuck? There's like nothing there." What is that thing that they're going to be giving people? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that whole thing with the Ukraine it's kind of funny. You got to laugh at it. I know people are going to be spiraling because I'm like, you got to laugh at it, and they think that a bunch of people are like really dying. I'm not saying that they're not really dying. There are obviously people dying. Anyway, I don't want to go down this whole topic, because this is going to be more for MOT today. So anyway, the other things that's going on in crypto. So that was some sort of nonsense here, but there's something else going on. I guess MRI, Marshall Rogan Inu. Let's look this up. Marshall, which by the way, next Friday, we'll have a guest on the show. And that guest is going to be talking about this coin right here. Let me flip it over to you guys. And I'm not shilling it. I'm not supporting it. I own none of this, by the way. I'm not trying to pump my bags. I've thought about entering in just because I understand that memes are very powerful and meme coins tend to go up super fast. I mean, this one right here allegedly helps UFC fighters. I don't know much about it, so it could be true, it could not be true. I'll find out more though. I haven't done much research into it, quite honestly. But apparently, guys, and I don't know how true this is. I'm taking other people's words for this, but this coin did a 10,000x. You would have 10,000x your money had you gotten in from the beginning. I guess. I hope I'm not telling a lie here. I hope I'm not misleading you guys. But this is what I'm seeing, not on their website, not on their Twitter. But yeah, and look at this. They already make T-shirts for this stuff. UFC fighters are already bragging about it. I mean, look at this. I don't know who the hell this dude is.
MRI token.
But let's see. He has a blue check mark.
They're doing something great and innovative in the MMA world by donating all their marketing funds to fighters, fight-based charities, and gyms. They paid out close to $1 million in just 3 weeks, which is just insane. They work with over 100 UFC athletes and continue to grow their partnership with fighters like me.
Okay. So that's pretty cool. I know a lot of people in the UFC don't get paid that great, and this is going to help change that. And so it seems. Once again, I'm not saying I support this. I just wanted to show you guys something here that I've been checking out, looking at. I haven't bought any. I don't encourage anybody to buy any. I think that you should do your own research when it comes to this. And next Friday, we'll be talking with B Roots, and he'll be talking about this coin a little bit more and why is it pumping. Because he's been talking about it since its inception. My hair's all wild there. You like that? I'm like a wild man. Just got out of the shower, so my hair looks a little fresh and wet. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if Malcolm's going to hop in any time because he had some stuff he wanted to say. Let's see. So, yeah, that's some stuff going on there as far as Hex. Let's look at what's going on with Hex. Oh, yeah, let me show you guys. I got to get the banner going. My bad. So, really, Hex has been not doing the greatest right now, but that doesn't really matter if you're staked and you got your T-shares because you're still getting paid every day, right? So let's take a look at Hex Daily Stats. This is where I like to go because it gives you a very concise overview of what's taking place in the Hex market right now. So you got Hex at 11 cents. T-shares are at a little, so the prices has changed from what you see on the screen on the banner below. But you got $2,400 for a T-share. And yeah, so getting paid about 6 Hex every day for per T-share. So that's pretty cool. And as that goes up, as this price goes up and that goes up, that's crazy. That was one of the big things that sold me on Hex, right? But anyway, this is, it might be a good buying opportunity for some. This is the lowest I've seen it since, this is the lowest that I've been seeing it go for a long time. And actually the lowest I think it's gone this year. Yeah, I think all of last. No, because I got in last year and I got in at about 4 or 5 cents, I believe, right around there. Dollar, and I bought in at other entry points as well. which, it's like tempting to not throw some money in there now because it's so cheap, right? But we'll see. We'll see. The thing that I am pretty excited about, which I want to learn more about, and I can claim free hex, not free hex, claim free Hedron tokens, which is Hedron. Hedron is what I'm really excited about. It's this crypto project or product. I don't know if it's a project or product. I haven't done much research into it. But before I get onto that, let me just tell you guys the thing that really enticed me or intrigued me when it came to Hex, when it comes to Hex, was encapsulated stakes. So when I first learned about Hex, I was like, okay, this is cool because you have the APY that can then sort of mitigate the losses you would accrue during a bear market, right? That was very intriguing. Also, the price action and the fact that people are staking their coins for a long time. So the community is going to be there for a long time. And that's one of the most important things in crypto. But the thing that really, really intrigued me about it was the potential to encapsulate a stake. Now, I didn't know the words for this. I didn't think of, I didn't know that this was actually something people were working on back then. I just thought, this could take over the bond market effectively. If you were able to sort of like divvy up these T shares, you have a T share and then you can divvy them up. I was thinking about that. And the next thing you know, I started hearing Richard Hart talking about it. And now we have projects that are allowing people to do just that. And that's incredible. One of those projects is Hedron. And Hedron allows you to collect your Hedron or whatever the coin's called. And you can, I don't really know how it works, honestly, but basically, there are, from what I understand, your Hex stakes are encapsulated as NFTs, and you can sell those NFTs on OpenSea. So you don't have to hold on to your T shares for the full 15 years in order to get paid right now for it. So you can cash those out a lot sooner without facing the emergency end stake penalty. And that stake doesn't leave, right? You're just transferring it over. And that was super cool to learn about. And I still need to claim mine. And there's a lot of FUD going on in the Hex community, which I think is really dumb when it comes to this project and all the other projects that come out. I mean, it's like kind of disgusting in the Hex community. Not everybody in the Hex community, the people I talk to in the Hex community are really cool and open to what's going on. And they'll call it how it is. If they see shit, they'll say that it's shit. They won't just sugarcoat it or try to pump their own bags. If they feel something's a good project, then yeah, obviously, if they hold it, they're going to talk about it, which in turn will pump their bags. But it's not for the sole purpose of pumping, your bags or just being a shill, right? Anyway, like the Hex community, there's just a lot of drama going on right now, and it's not really cool. A lot of nonsense, and I'm not down for that. I'm not down for that. I'm not down for that. I don't know. I think there's a song that's like that or something. I can't do it. I don't know. I hear it in my head. Ooh, I can't go for. I don't know. I think it's at the end of a Russ song. I think it's the end of Russ and the Game song. Anyway, on Russ's new album, Chomp 2. So, all right. Let's see here. Yeah, so there's. Well, I think that the what is it? The meetup, the Hex meetup in Hex is taking place. The conference in Las Vegas is sometime this month, either this week, next week, something like that. So I know people are going to that. They're pretty pumped about it. I was planning on going originally. I had this time off I don't right now, but I had this time originally scheduled off to go there. I thought better of it. I thought I can spend my money in better ways, and so here I'm at home still. Yeah, but that should be cool. That should be cool. We'll see probably some clips from in full videos of the event, the conference, how it went. Some drama came out about that too, actually. I guess I don't know. I haven't looked much into it, but Maddie Allen and the Joker, the Hex Joker, had a conversation regarding what happened last year at the conference and whether or not Maddie took people's whatever. I don't know. Just a bunch of drama. Like I said, there's been a bunch of drama, and it's because people are losing their freaking minds because Hex doesn't just continuously pump. People have been not deceived, but people have been too dumb to realize that when something goes up really high, it has to go down. And that's what Hex is doing right now. If we see an 85% correction from its all-time high, I mean, let's do some math right now. Okay, so like, let's say its all-time high was, or it is, 56. So if we go, okay, so 50 minus, Hex can get down to like 9 cents out of an 85% dip from 56 cents. So let's say it does that. Let's say Hex drops down to 9 cents. Is that not a great buying opportunity, especially if you think the product's going to be around for a long time, which it most certainly will, being that it has 15-year stakes? You have somebody staking a 15-year stake of like $200 million or some insane shit like that. Does that sound like a project or a product rather that's going anywhere? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So, if you get 9 cents and you can get those T shares, you can get those B shares, stake it up, get a lot of your Hex, especially before the fork happens with Pulse Chain, right? Because when the fork happens with Pulse Chain, you're going to get duplicate of everything on chain, which is so awesome. And that's all ERC20s, all ERC 721s, which is why I got to get on claiming my Hedron, because I believe it's on the Ethereum network, and then that once it's forked, Ethereum will be duplicated. So your Hedron will even be duplicated on the freaking. Oh my gosh, I got to get into that probably after this episode that we do. I'll do that. So yeah, now let's jump into something else here. This is a little more serious. So apparently Metamask and let's see here. Metamask and Opensea have prevented certain users in certain countries from doing anything. And that, was kind of alarming to me because you see these projects like MetaMask, or products like Metamask, OpenSea, specifically Metamask, and think that you're fine if you have your coins in there, which you probably are, but they can do stuff like this. So let's see. So there have been multiple reports in the last day of users being unable to access crypto services, namely MetaMask, Infra, and OpenSea, in certain jurisdictions such as Iran and Venezuela. Many have pointed to MetaMask support page as an explanation. Earlier today, it said that MetaMask and Infra weren't available in certain jurisdictions for compliant reasons. It has since been updated to say that Infra isn't available in such jurisdictions, and this impacts MetaMask because it uses Infra by default. And Infra, for those of you who don't know, I didn't know this either, by the way, it's a blockchain node infrastructure. So basically, it allows you to access the data that's on the blockchain in Ethereum and use it, is what I understand. And so let's see here. So this page has actually had the original message since at least April 2021, as it was shared on the Reddit post. Instead, Infra blamed the issue on its own misconfiguration. The team said, quote, in changing some configurations as a result of the new sanctions directives from the United States and other jurisdictions were mistakenly configured the settings more broadly than they needed to be. So it looks like they're claiming they made a mistake. I don't know. What's going on, Malcolm?
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm all right, man. Just talking about what's happening right now with Metamask and Opensea. Apparently, there are certain countries that can no longer do transactions using Metamask, and they're being banned from doing so. Their IP addresses and stuff like that, and we're just going over, what that actually looks like. What this article goes over in regards to that.
Wow.
So
why are they banning it?
sanctions, they say, sanctions and complying with the law, and it's because infra, which is the thing that allows MetaMask to run and other projects that interact with these blockchains like Ethereum, Polygon, or not Polygon, but we'll just say Ethereum. It allows them to interact with them. It makes it easy, I should say. You go down the rabbit hole. They're like owned by Consensus or something like that, and then it goes into the World Economic Forum. So there's a bunch of conspiracy theory and conjecture as to what's really going on here and how it's going to play out. And this provides a good opportunity for somebody like Richard Hart, who has talked about making a new crypto wallet, but he hasn't been working on it. So he said, I don't know if he hasn't said that he hasn't been working on it, but it hasn't been a priority because MetaMask has been friendly enough and has allowed people to do what it needs to do, what they need to do on the Web3 and the DeFi. But now with this happening, who knows? Maybe we'll see a priority shift in making a wallet, right? He's talked about making a vertical integrated system, and he's mostly there. I mean, he has Hex, which is store value. He has Pulse Chain, the network system, and then he has PulseX, which is the decentralized exchange. Then you need a fiat on-ramp, and then you need a wallet. And MetaMask was just kind of by default, but now with this taking place, maybe that's all going to change.
Do you think it'll change for the better?
My honest to God, true, opinion on that is it will for a while, but then it'll become corrupted inevitably. It always does. So, I'm not one of these, pie in the sky individuals who are like, yeah, if somebody just did this better, we'll never have these problems again. It's like, no, like somebody can come around, do a better, maybe that better product will be untainted for uncorrupt or not corrupted for a longer period of time because its structure is more fortified and it's stronger, but eventually it's going to corrode. I mean, it's just the way life works. So that's my opinion. I think that it's going to do well if he does it, but will it change everything for the better forever? No.
Because eventually do you think banks will probably want to get into it like central banks, perhaps?
Yeah, they already are. They already are. I mean, you got like China making the digital yuan, making their own private blockchain. Russia's doing something similar. The United States is doing it right now. It's India's doing it. All these big countries are doing it, and I think that the banks are going to control most of it, but you're going to have your options to be away from centrally owned assets. You're going to be able to own decentralized assets still. That's my thinking, and I believe that, as I've shared many of times, cryptocurrencies will be mainly used, the bulk of them, as a alternative form of currency to the digital dollar or digital yuan or whatever that'll be created by these central banks. It'll be in a way that similar, like as I mentioned before. I'll do some work in exchange for some eggs. I'll trade you my hat for a card. right? So these will be the things that I think cryptocurrencies will sort of facilitate, are these under the table transactions, which could happen at scale. And I think the majority of the crypto assets there are, not the majority, but like Hex and other decentralized products like that will offer people a secure haven, a safe haven, away from central banks, away from negative interest rates, away from any kind of control of tyranny. You'll be able to possess your store of value in these decentralized assets. So yes, central banks will come in there, but that doesn't mean that you won't be able to circumvent what you may think to be tyranny.
I understand. Well, to the limited knowledge that I have, I understand where you're coming from, and I do appreciate your answer as well. I didn't mean to intervene in the middle of your session here. I didn't know where I was.
No, it's all good,
where I
dude.
was intervening here, so I'm following the flow here. Do you want me to go into like market news or?
Well, tell us a little bit about the interview that you just had.
Oh yes, I'm excited. I didn't know if. All right, so I had an amazing interview with Sharente Carr. She is an entrepreneur. She has a huge understanding of how technological systems work as far as databases go. She has worked for Fortune 500 companies. She's in the process of building her own business as well. I'm sorry, she has 2 businesses right now. She has her LLC, of course, and she is an innovator and a go-getter. She never settles for less. She does great things, and she has huge goals that she will accomplish. The interview honestly left me thinking like, wow, we need more people that are definitely that persevere through their trials and tribulations, and instead of letting them hinder them from their growth. She chose, even through her worst times, to do great things because she believed in herself. She had a great influence around her. She had her wonderful mother, her sister, her late sister, but she was there, of course, and she's definitely been through it. Of course, we all have ups and we have downs, but she exemplifies what perseverance is and should be. So that was a great interview, and it was on the Wisdom app. I encourage you guys, when you get the chance, to download the Wisdom app. It's about conversations that matter. You guys are going to have wonderful conversations with very insightful people. Now, it's not like Clubhouse. It is definitely not like Clubhouse, but you get a one-on-one intimate conversation with wonderful minded people. And I'm excited to see the future of its growth, because it's only been out since it's been public, because there was a beta at one point. It's been public for about 4 months. And the owner, or the creator of the app, her name is Daya Akranati. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. If not, please correct me. But she is wonderful. This app couldn't have come at a more convenient time, because people that want to have conversations that matter about literally anything, like crypto, you name it, spirituality, there are mentors on that app. There are business people on that app that will give you the insight that you seek when it comes to wisdom. And it's not only just the information you receive, it's the great connections that you build on that app. Great people there. So I implore you guys to download the Wisdom app and have some conversations. And I didn't get paid. We're not getting paid by Wisdom.
No, not at all. Not at all. This is unpaid shilling here. Anyway, yeah. So the interview went well. What did you guys talk about?
We talked about the life of her experiences, and I don't want to spoil the interview, and I encourage you guys to download the app to look for it and look through me. Look through my profile to find the interview. You guys will find it there. I'm sure she's also going to post on her page as well. But she talked about her experiences, and it's definitely one worth watching.
Nice.
How she's been able to grow through the pain that she's endured. So it's amazing. It's an amazing story of triumph.
Good deal.
Absolutely.
Good deal. Those are always good to hear.
Absolutely.
So in other news, what's going on in the traditional markets, man? Like, we covered a little bit on crypto, and, Hex is down quite a bit. It's, we're at 11 cents currently, probably going to drop down to like 9 cents, 4 cents, 5 cents, who knows, but quite a bit.
I might as well start adding more
Hex.
That? I said I might as well start buying more Hex at this point. It's discount shopping for me, for all of us, of course.
That's the way I look at it.
Exactly.
So,
That's why I
yeah,
look at downtrends like that too. Okay, so to jump straight into the traditional markets, so the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at a negative 0.53%. The S&P 500 closed at a negative 0.79%. The Nasdaq Composite closed at a negative 1.66%. These downtrends have been at the expense of course, and you've guessed it, the Russia-Ukraine crisis that has been going on. Russia has been intensifying their attacks on the Ukraine. In the most recent news, the Russians attacked a nuclear plant, and they attacked the nuclear plant, and it caused a little bit of damage. And the prime minister of the Ukraine wanted to call a temporary ceasefire. I don't know why they would call it a temporary ceasefire. Why don't they just call it off completely? But who knows? But other than that, that has actually caused a brief disruption in the markets. And plus, considering that, you also have interferences in the U.S. Department of Labor reported they had 678,000 jobs for the month of February, reporting, because that's what what analysts expect as far as results go for market sentiment. Investors rely on a few things when it comes to market data. They rely on earnings reports. They rely on economic data as far as the consumer price index is concerned as well. They also rely on another parameter of the U.S. Department of Labor as far as job growth goes. Investors didn't really care that much about the Labor Department as much as they do now, considering that we're getting out of a pandemic. And that has been actually the catalyst for why the market has been going in an opposite direction. However, markets have soon, by soon, I mean actually now, they've been slumping tremendously because due to the tensions rising in Russia and with Russia and Ukraine, there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. And in addition to that, to add insult to injury, the Federal Reserve will be implementing their first rate hike this March, and it's going to happen. Actually, Jerome Powell has a meeting scheduled for later next week, and they could start implementing what they said. Instead, they were going to do a half point. They're going to do a quarter point rate hike. So that will cause a little bit of uncertainty in the markets as well. Inflation. Okay, so how do I say this? It's not helping that we're implementing these rate hikes at a time where inflation is high. The price for commodity is soaring. I mean, you have oil reaching all-time highs. It's been reaching highs past 40 years. It's been reached as high for over $116 per barrel. That's tremendously disappointing, considering that we should have gotten a grasp on it a lot sooner. But besides that, with and of itself, you have, of course, these poor job reports. I mean, they're not poor job reports, but they're less than. I personally think they're subpar. Even though they say that unemployment's at 4%, is it really though? But anywho, you have that, and you have a negative catalyst for inflation. Of course, these stocks are going to be impacted. More specifically, the tech industry is definitely being hit in a different direction because you have these high valuation stocks, of course, that don't undergo the fundamentals that they should have been going because how do I say this? There's a lot of volatility right now, and because of that, people have been rotating their assets to assets like gold, silver, and on the market, ETFs, index funds, and they've been reducing their holdings in the bond market, more specifically retail investors. I'm not sure about corporate investors, but there just hasn't been much leeway as far as that goes. So it's like the economy can't even get a break right now. Biden is right now in the office. This dude is doing overtime. Okay, he's tackling what's going on geopolitically, and on top of that, after his State of the Union address, which by the way was Tuesday.
Did you just say Joe Biden's doing overtime? The dude can't even work probably like a regular 20-hour week.
I will say that his administration is doing overtime.
Fair.
Okay.
Just,
and with that being
trolling there, just trolling.
I know you are. You love to troll. But undoubtedly, Congress needs to step up to the plate, and the Federal Reserve has. And the sad thing is to say about these interest rate hikes, this is only going to be one of 7 that they plan on implementing by this year. Do I think it's going to be accomplished in the way that they expect? Well, that honestly depends on right now, this Russia-Ukraine crisis. Markets literally at the edge of their seats figuring out what to do because it's impacted the Russian markets, of course. They've stalled their investments, and the US, these central banks have decided to um, not go. They've decided to not conduct business with foreign entities associated with Russia, and a lot of other businesses are following suit as well. It's just they're cutting off all financial ties from Russia in any capacity. Sadly, Citigroup had at least 1/3 of their stake with Russian investors, so that stalled Citigroup Bank's financials. But they don't seem to be as adversely affected. Actually, I lied. They dropped about 9%, and Wells Fargo, they lost about 4% today, and then Bank of America, they lost about, I think, 3%, and that's just off the top of my head. I immediately bought some bank puts yesterday because I saw where it was going. I saw where the market was heading. I was like, oh, this is a deal right here. This is gonna happen. Like I had the utmost certainty, so I threw some money in there on some put options. Man, I did pretty great. I'm pretty ecstatic. I'm pretty happy with those results. Because it was the trend, the candlestick chart was indicating that it was undergoing like a turnaround, and I saw some negative sentiment because I read into the news about what was going on, and one thing that gave me a green light was when I read an article that said that banks will despite the rise in interest rates and these rate hikes, which actually are beneficial for banks, it's not enough to keep them from going outside of their fundamentals. I forgot what the source was, but that was all the catalyst I needed. I was like, you know what? Because it was already going, it went red Monday, and then Tuesday it was consecutively red. It closed red. So Wednesday was when I was like, I think it's no brainer. The trend is indicating bear here. I hear bear. It's screaming bear in my face. So I just went on a whim and I went for it. But ultimately, bank stocks are going to be suffering. But it's in the short term and long term. Banks have longevity because eventually interest rates will benefit banks. But still, you have central banks trying to figure out how they can implement these interest rates as well and adjust to them for their clients. Because the thing is that the consumer, such as you and I, will have to adjust our finances. And by adjusting our finances, banks will have to adjust their finances because their clients are adjusting their finances. So that will take time, but it will be gradual growth. Right now, banks are in a temporary downtrend. So we'll see how that goes. But once again, the market's holding on a threshold of how will this Russia-Ukraine crisis pan out? That's where the market is right now. They're scared. Investors are scared. So are corporate investors as well. Though they've been donating very charitably, Wells Fargo and a few other banks pledged $1 million, I believe, in support towards the refugee crisis that is developing in the Ukraine. And a couple of other entities are following suit. I know, don't say anything, but this is just what I'm reading. I'm just reporting, dude. So
no,
yeah.
dude, it's cool. It's cool. I just find it. I don't know. I have obviously there's stuff going on in Ukraine. Obviously there's a war. Obviously, but so much of it is total nonsense. And why is everybody supporting Ukraine? Why is everybody supporting Ukraine? Why is everybody unified against Russia? That to me is weird.
I just report the news.
yeah, I get it. I just speculate. I come up with crazy ideas that may be wrong. They may be right. I'm usually, more often than not, I'm right. But anyway, I'll stop. Go ahead.
Other than that, you have the fact that the economics of our country are in a bit of stagnance right now. And what I'm saying is stagflation, if we go into a recession, might be a result of the issues. If what's going on right now geopolitically starts to impact our market and our economy.
What's stagflation?
I'll tell you. So stagflation is basically, hold on, because I wrote a more advanced definition of it than goodness gracious.
What is it? Just explain it. You don't need the definition.
Off the top of my head, it's the opposite of, it's like inflation on steroids. But it's due to the fact that there's a poor labor force. And when you have a poor labor force and you don't have an economy that's already affluent enough to hold that, because one thing about the economy is that there's three things the economy needs to function well: is they need to promote economic growth, they need to limit unemployment, and they need to they need to control the price of assets as far as the US dollar is concerned, as far as commodities goes. That's what economy, and this is for universal, all economies in general. And when you don't have at least one of those working in benefit, let alone two of them, which unemployment is still an existing issue, well, and stagflation will inevitably cause consumers to be it will cause for a recession where you have an insurmountable amount of unemployment, and on top of these raising interest rates, it'll make it harder for the consumer. So that's the simplest way that I can describe it without looking at the actual term. But I definitely do encourage you to look into stagflation, because that could be a result of a recession if we do go into a recession. But inflation is what they're trying to tackle right now, but they really need to tackle it. So that's why Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell was like, despite the geopolitical tensions that's going on right now, we still need to implement these interest rate hikes, because we need to slow down our quantitative easing, which quantitative easing is providing liquidity into the economy.
So the thing that I'm kind of curious about with stagflation, high inflation, high unemployment rate, but what we found through history.
Okay, so stagflation is persistent high inflation combined with high unemployment with stagnant demand in a country's economy.
Right. So you have high inflation, high unemployment rate, but how do you get the high inflation? Because the way inflation works, so we've learned, is it's coupled with the printing of money, the mass printing of money, but also the velocity of money. In other words, money is printed in the speed at which it's being spent. So a lot of money being printed and a lot of money being spent. But if a lot of money being printed and a lot of people are out of jobs, wouldn't they then just hoard their cash, which would then cause tension between inflation and deflation?
Well, yes, that's kind of the goal of macroeconomics. When we're facing high inflation, the ideal goal is to raise these interest rates to make them like unattractive to consumers, so they reduce their expenditure, easing it on assets. So it's basically, in the simplest way I can describe this, preventing people from spending excess amounts of money on things, so that they can reduce or keep sustainability into the economy as far as monetary value or monetary flow goes. Because yes, we can print unlimited money, but the consumer, for more specifically the consumer that's not in a good economic position, still needs to afford commodities.
Gotcha. So it's intended. So since action is intended to lower, okay. Yeah, that I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing here, because it just seems that it's like they're opposite. I don't know. Like
what, inflation and deflation, or inflation and stagflation?
No, stagflation. Like how it works. Like so, you have a lot of inflation, but you have a lot of unemployment. People aren't going to spend their money if they're unemployed, because they don't know when their next check's coming. They're going to be more conscientious of their spending, but then more money is being printed. And then you need inflation. Inflation only takes place when you start spending the money. Like you need to have a lot of money, and then you need to spend the money. And then that then drives the prices up of things.
So when you have consumers that can't afford to buy things at the store, that will that will reduce demand. So there won't be enough demand there at the store. So when there's not enough demand because consumers can't afford these high priced commodities, then you will have consumers once again that are going to be frugal with their finances, not spending their money as much, and it'll hurt these bigger businesses if they have things that people can't buy because of the high prices of these inflation. So stagflation, and the fact that it's consistent unemployment, so that means you don't have consistent income coming in. So now you need to be really frugal with your finances. If you can't afford to live and to to afford, you know, food on the table, well, there's a problem. There's definitely a problem, because if you can't afford to get food on the table, then you're not going out to buy anything. You're not spending your money on anything. You're saving and conserving as much as you can. I mean, essentially, I guess businesses would profit off of saving money on the supplies. But then let's say that I go to Walmart and I lose my job, or I'm unemployed, or I'm going through frictional unemployment or structural unemployment, which structural unemployment based off of macroeconomics is being in between jobs. So let's say that I'm in between jobs, but I don't have a steady income. If I can't afford to buy the things that I enjoy buying from Walmart, and Walmart sees that I don't buy that thing anymore because I'm going through something with my unemployment crisis, then they're not going to accommodate that product anymore. And now they're cutting demand on that because there's not that much demand there for that specific product anymore. So when there's not demand, these businesses start losing out on money because people can't afford this stuff too. So now you have these commodities that people buy that are raising these prices. Like, come on. It's making it harder for the businesses as well as the smaller guy too. So now that's causing a disruption in the flow of the economy as far as the growth domestic product go, and it'll also impact the consumer price index as well. So like, yeah, it'll impacts a lot of things as far as businesses go, supply and demand goes, and as far as unemployment goes, and people to be able to get things on the table. If that makes sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. I really do. So it's interesting. We're living in interesting times. Yeah. I mean, obviously, go ahead.
We honestly have to play this by ear. We have to be wary of our finances. If there's anything that I can suggest, and I'm not a financial advisor, it's just be wary of what you're buying. And also, if you can afford to bargain shop, you know, there's been people. I read an article from the Wall Street Journal about how people that even have money are starting to reduce their expenses and cut out the unnecessary expenses, because of course, if it's not a necessity, then they don't need to buy it. If you're paying for something that you don't really need, well, and you know that it's not going to impact you in the long run, then make that sacrifice. A lot of people are making financial sacrifices right now due to the fact that we're facing high inflation. People are sacrificing going over their friend's house because of high gas prices. They're sacrificing that sense of fulfillment, or even that to work too. So now when you have these gas prices, which by the way are at like $4, and let's say I work at a job and I I get paid like $11 an hour, and I drive 30 minutes to and from work. That's an hour worth of commute time. I'm spending at least over 1/3 on my freaking paycheck just to go to work. So now it's not really helping me at all. It's creating that stagnant.
Got to get that bag other ways.
Well, of course, that's the ultimate. I would only hope that you do that. That's the objective here. But there are people that fit within that, you know, that demographic that are in that kind of a position, right? So now they have to tame these gas prices. Otherwise, pretty soon, people ain't gonna go to work. Or they're not going to be able to afford to go to work, because you have these people that are single parents that are taking care of kids. You have these people that are already in a rut, relying on credit cards to try to pay off this debt, that are in debt or furloughed. So now they're tapping into their savings. You know, you have people becoming desperate with their finances at the expense of trying to preserve something. So with an economy that's flowing off the roof, out of hand, how can you expect me to live a sustainable lifestyle if I can't even afford to, you know, live that lifestyle or live a life?
All right, here we go. I'm about to trigger people. You don't need fucking money to live, guys. You don't need money to live. I get what we're saying here in this context, but I just wanted to throw that in there. You don't need money to live, and you definitely don't need money to live to have a sustainable life. Now, it's a little nuance here because we live in a society, and I like living in the society that we live in. And this society relies a lot on money. Therefore, if you want to interact with society, you need some kind of money. So yes, what you're saying is not untrue. It's not, false or incorrect. But I think a big thing here that's very important to, if you're going to sacrifice or if you're going to hustle harder to make, money and find other ways like that, because there's money everywhere. So anyway, the key thing to remember is that, one, your money is not real. It's fake. Like, you can get everything you need from nature, and that won't cost you a dime. Money is used to buy man-made things that then give you status. That isn't a bad thing. I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying understanding this will help you lose your fear of money. It will help you lose your fear of money, because if you went broke, and how many homeless people that have $0 in their bank account do you see every day living? A lot, a lot. And I'm not saying go be a homeless person with no money in the bank. That's not what I'm saying. The point here is to understand the fact that you don't need money. And once you actually understand that, you lose your fear of money because you no longer hold money on a pedestal.
Well, yeah, of course. Money is a form of societal construct, and we give it
Yes.
we give it its purpose that it's supposed to serve. But I feel as though people make it that it's an absolute necessity. I mean, what about the finer things, the smaller things to life, right? I mean, where's the sense and fulfillment in life? Even when you get like start making tons of money, I mean, where's the true joy in that? There isn't, because you tried to manifest joy from that. Now that you made money, I mean, what's next, right? You get bored, kind of get bored. I mean, when
Right.
you have a lot of it, of course. I mean, it's it's not a bad thing, but
No.
if you make it so that you have to, like, it's the thing that controls everything that you do in your life, from the friendships that you build, to the relationships that you build, to the jobs that you do, and to the duty that you serve. Well, then, I mean, where's fulfillment in that if you're letting money be the reason and the root of all of the problems in your life? There's no joy in that. It's kind of shallow, if you ask me.
Right. Don't get me wrong. Like, I want to be wealthy. I'm sure Malcolm wants to be wealthy. So it's not that I'm over here trying to downplay the importance, or the want or desires, or I can't even say necessity. I can't get myself to say necessity. But to live in the world that we live in, not trying to downplay it. Like, money is important. And as somebody who, we're like middle class, upper middle class. We're not like very rich or anything. My wife and I, we do very well for ourselves. And as Malcolm is saying, like, pretty much, if we want to do something, we can do it. And so, like, we're at that point financially where, like, we're not millionaires, we're far from it. But I'm just saying that, to piggyback off of what Malcolm's saying, like, from personal experience, like, the only thing I like really spend my money on is back into the business, back into investments, other businesses as well. Like what's the point? I don't know. And another good thing that you could do right now, especially if you're concerned with food and things like that, which I've been talking about for a long time, your local farms, man. The other week, last Sunday, I went out there. I helped the local farm that I go help at, Bill's. Well, yeah, if you want, yeah. I mean, yeah, that that's implied with saying you want to live in the society. That's what makes.
I like how you're having a conversation. Wait, I can't see the comments. So it seems like you're having a conversation. Oh, okay. You're having a conversation with your, like, it seems like you're already articulating your thoughts in your head, and then you're like adjusting them on how you say it. It's just really interesting just to see you articulate. I say just let it all out. It's
Yeah,
just an observation.
yeah, no. So yeah, Mick's right. Obviously, you need money to pay your bills. I mean, in some cases, maybe not. Right?
Oh,
Like,
is Mick watching? Hey, what's up, Mick? What's going
yeah,
on, man?
what's
Hope you're
going on,
doing
man?
well.
So, but like last Sunday, I went out to the farm and got 3 pounds of meat, a big tub of butter, and 2 dozen eggs
Mhm.
for literally like 2-3 hours worth of work. So you don't like. There's ways you can cut the middleman. If you can't find ways to make money, then there's other ways that you can circumvent the need of money to get your necessities, and you can do it legally. You can do it naturally. So that's my whole point. Like, there's really no need to fear. There are so many options, and especially in times like this of uncertainty, opportunities are everywhere, especially in crypto. Um, Probably in the stock market too. I'm not a big fan of messing with the stock market because the gains in crypto just outpace anything you can do in the stock market ever. It doesn't
Wow.
matter. Like, even if you were in even if you were in Amazon at its lowest low to its highest high, you would have still made more money if you got into Ethereum at its beginning to its high. Fact. Same with Bitcoin. There's a bunch of other coins that are just like that too. So it's like, not a bunch, there's a few. So it's like, you know, anybody that has little money, and this is not financial advice, if I had little money, I would not be playing in the stock market. I would only be playing in the stock market if I had a lot of money, and I would be diversifying into safer avenues.
I might have to interject.
Well, here's what I'm going to say, Malcolm. You did really well in your put, right? You did really well. You made a lot of money. Nobody.
Oh, it wasn't even reference. It wasn't even reference to that, but go on.
Here's the point I'm making. Like, even with that, you made a lot of money. Do you know there was a coin? There's a coin right now that's out that 10,000x. Do you know that's 1,000,000%? It went up 1,000,000%. Can you guess how fast it did it?
How, like a month or a week?
Yeah, a month. It did 1,000,000x. It did 1,000,000% in a month. Where the fuck can you find that in the stock market? You can't.
Well, how did you even find that asset though? Like, you have to know to know somebody that knows somebody.
That's why you spend time in crypto Twitter, man. Like, I knew about that coin when it first popped off. I didn't invest in it like an idiot, but I knew about it when it first came out. I did. I was following it, and then I watched it, and it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah. So anyway, it's still going up, by the way. I'm not encouraging people to get into it. We covered it at the beginning of the show. It's the Marshall Rogan Inu coin. I'm going to be bringing on a guest next week, and we're going to talk about this coin actually. But there are coins out there. Like, yes, you can make good money in the stocks. I'm just saying, if you have little money and you want to spend some time on Twitter doing your research, reading up on this stuff, your time would be better spent in crypto, 100%. If you have a lot of money and you want to diversify into stocks, cool. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just what I would do if I had little money, which I consider what I have not a lot of money. So, you know, like I'm mostly all in crypto. Actually, I'm not in any stock. Maybe as my portfolio, increases through time, I'll then begin divvying into stocks. But why mess around in stocks when you can see 100x return, a 200x return? Realistically,
I'm not knocking you. I'm not knocking you that there are.
You could have turned when's the last time you seen somebody turn $100 into $1 million in 1 month? Less than a month, actually. 3 weeks.
Never.
In the stock market. When does that happen?
No, not in the stock market.
It happens in crypto, man. It happens in crypto. So I get it. Like, you can gamble, like you're gambling a little bit, but it's more realistic to take place in crypto than in stocks. Okay. I'm saying that's what I would do. I'm not a financial advisor. And yes, you can make money in stocks. You can.
Oh no, I'm not knocking it. That there's the great thing here is that there's money to be made in both aspects, yes. Right? And the stock market's a different climate than, of course, those that are familiar with crypto, such as yourself. So I won't discourage you for the fact that yes, there's opportunities like the one that you just mentioned, but you studied crypto, and of course, you're very familiar with crypto and the environment of crypto. I've studied the markets. I'm very familiar with the area of the markets, just the overall environment. So the areas of opportunity that you see as well are the ones that I can see on my end. So I think it's about, I guess, the diversification of knowledge when it comes down to it, because you can observe a stock and see where its trend is heading, read into the news of it, just like you can with the crypto, and look into the news of it, of course, and socialize with a group of people that are familiar with it as well. So they give you insight to see what you're getting yourself into. So yeah, I'm not knocking it as well, but I will say you can trade with little money on the stock market. Like, so here's the crazy thing. I have a demo portfolio that I put only $1,000 into it. So what I'm doing, and this is gonna be a little experiment that I actually might try on the channel as well, is to do like demo trades with this demo account. Like, this is money I'm not afraid to to let go away. Doesn't matter. So like what I'm doing is I'm proving, because I have made it happen before. So like I've managed to turn $400 into $4,000 in a matter of a month. And I know those are small. Some may say that small gains, but to small retail, to a
a 10x.
smaller retail investor, that's beautiful, right?
Good.
So what I'm saying is you can manifest huge gains from such a small input, but you have to do your research, of course. You have to do your due diligence, and that's what it's all about. To be honest with you, like I didn't manifest the gains that I've manifested by just okay. Well, at one point I was gambling. I was a degenerate gambler, but I've had to scale back on my tactics, and of course I've had to become patient. And that's honestly that's why I'm even more passionate with what I do, because I will tell you right now, folks, I have lost a lot of money, a lot, too much to count. But I'm grateful for those losses, because that's taught me to not see money the same way that I did before. Because when I had a
Yeah.
lot of it, I was a different kind of person. I was arrogant, rude, inconsiderate. And this is just touching on the conversation that we had way earlier. I was a different kind of person, and I didn't like who that person was. So after I lost everything and I had to restart and recoup my investments, I grew true patience and appreciation for the work that I'm doing. And there's something great to appreciate when and this is from the last episode, when you have more timing in the market. I'm sorry, when you have more time in the market than timing in the market. Taught me a lot of patience. And I think that's what it's about with crypto as well. I'm sure you can agree, Luis. It's patience as well, and discipline, self-discipline.
Sure.
So that's
For
what it's
sure. I
all
used to
about.
be a degenerate too. I'm not saying, I know I harp against trading and I do all that shit. I've never been a trader, but I used to just throw money into anything that I thought would pump in crypto. I made money doing it. I lost money doing it. I think I've been fortunate in that I've definitely made more money continuously than I've lost. That doesn't mean it's like huge gains or anything. I mean, like little, like, I'm very open about that. Like, not, I haven't made life changing money in crypto yet, which some may think is
Yet.
crazy because yet, exactly, key word. Some may think it's crazy since I talk about being in crypto since 2016, but I haven't made life changing money. I haven't made what some call fuck you money. I've made good money, but not enough to be like, I never have to work again and I can live and do whatever I want with my money, and I think it has a lot to do with my degenerate tendencies when I first got into crypto, because as Malcolm's saying, you become impatient, you become arrogant, you have these quick successes, and you think you can repeat them over and over again, and you really can't. It catches up with you over time.
It does.
And, so it's important to really, take your time to understand what you're going to invest in. That for instance, this whole coin, the coin I talked about that did a 10,000x in 3 weeks, in about 3 weeks. I don't know if it really did 10,000x yet, but it's like right there at 10,000x. It's like over 9,000x, I think, for sure. Almost 10,000x. Anyway, like that coin. Maybe my degenerate self would have caught the wave when I first heard about it, that 4 years ago. If that were me now, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But am I upset that I missed it? No, I'm not. Like, my Hex is paying me daily. I have 2 other, pretty large positions in Pulse X and Pulse Chain that I'm satisfied with. And then there's another for every Hex staker, which I'm not even sure if you're aware of this. Hedron is a new cryptocurrency that's out. Anybody that has Hex stakes can free claim the Hedron, and then they encapsulate your stakes into an NFT that you can then sell your Hex stakes to somebody else. So you don't need to wait for your Hex stakes to mature to cash out. I think you can even take loans out against it, and you can sell it off. So this, for Hex holders, Hex stakers rather, you can get for free. And this is something that I'm going to be getting into. By the way, the OA address in Hex has claimed their Hedron. And so that's something I need to do. Anyway, but patience. The whole thing is what we're talking about is patience, and opportunities are there. I think that realistically, the people who make their money, let's say, they enter in crypto or something and they make their life-changing wealth in the first bull run they experience. I feel like a lot more of them will go broke or right back, or like blow a lot of ridiculous money.
Yeah, you're right, because once you see that happens, and I will say that this is one of the things I've done too. Like once I made stupid money, I started throwing it at everything. I was like, okay, I'm buying this, I'm buying that, I'm buying it, and I'm buying that. And I
Yeah.
started losing money so fast. I was like, whoa, what's going on? What's going on? Oh, it was bad. So they're more likely to take risk, a bigger risk, without even thinking of it, because they think that because it manifested something so great that it'll happen again just as easy. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions that you probably should be aware of is
For sure. And I think that, this is something that I've been pushing myself towards because I know I'm very confident that I'm going to become very successful off of what we're doing here with MOT and crypto. But this is why I've been trying to work harder and trying to build things in anticipation for that wealth, because I don't want to feel that I didn't earn the money. And I think that that's what gets a lot of people, uh, that's what separates a lot of people from the money that they've made through crypto, through stocks, through things that just happen very quickly, lottery tickets, whatever, is the fact that they didn't work for the money. They don't think that they don't think that they really earned the money. And then that just sends them sort of down a downward spiral where they, just spending cash very frivolously.
wow, you just helped me think of something. Well, you actually gave me even a greater inference on why I lost so much and why I'm learning to appreciate it. It's because, okay, so long story short, I threw a few grand into an investment and I made a matter of like 5 figures and then eventually manifested into 6 figures. And then I made a stupid investment and I lost almost all of it, virtually all of it. And I thought to myself, why me? Why did this happen to me? And it was because at the time, especially when I was over here, living it up crazy and whatnot, I was just being reckless and I didn't care because I didn't really earn that. Didn't really earn. I didn't really work hard for it. So I didn't really appreciate it. So that's why I was taking as much risk as I was. And I was being reckless essentially. But now with the gains that I've been making lately and since then, because this happened 3 years ago,
Ooh,
I've been great. It's been great.
real quick, Mick's always over here analyzing the shit
You
I say.
call
I
it
like it.
life-changing
I
wealth
like
while
it.
also saying you don't need money to survive. Which is it?
You don't make, because you can change.
Ooh,
Let here. It's very simple. It's very simple. So, what do I need to survive? What does a human need to survive? You need just food. You need food, because you can get people say food and water and shelter, but really you just need food to survive, because food has water in it, and it has, anyway, it has everything you need if you eat the right foods. Okay. You just need food. Do you need money to get food? Factually, no, you do not. Objectively, no, you do not. That right there is a specific lifestyle. You following? That right there is a lifestyle that you choose. It's a more natural lifestyle. Let's say you want to interact with society. And in society, there's a middleman. That middleman is called money. And that middleman is required in order for you to go to the store and get food, which is your necessity. But then with society, it's not just getting food, it's I need a car. Oh, I need a house. Oh, now since I have a house and I have a car, I now need to pay for gas. I need to pay for insurance. I need to pay for tags. I need to pay for registration. I need to pay to keep the bills on, the lights on. I need to pay to keep the stove on, all that shit, right? So that's a total shift from lifestyles. So it's not contradicting. You're just choosing different lifestyles. Objectively, you don't need money, but you can make life-changing money if you are living a certain lifestyle. A tribe in the middle of a desolate in the middle of an island out in the freaking Pacific Ocean, you give them $100 million, they're not going to give a shit about the $100 million. It's not going to change their life, okay? But you give that $100 million to somebody like me, or Malcolm, or Mick, or anybody else watching, it will change your life. And it's because you live in different environments. Does that make sense?
That prompts me to ask you this question. Once your investments do pan out and you become multi-gazillionaire, will that change the way you live your life currently?
Yeah. I mean, as far as where I live, as far as what I'm able to do, for sure. It'll amplify my personality. It'll probably amplify who I am. I mean, that's what money is. Money is an amplifier. So, yeah, probably, I think people who say that, their lifestyles won't change when they get money, I think they're not being honest with themselves because you now have more resources at your disposal, and you'd be stupid not to use that extra resource to give you leverage in the world. You'd be stupid.
I appreciate and admire your transparency.
I mean, let's see. Let's see. So you're saying some people don't need money to survive, but you do because of your societal. No, no. You never need money to survive. Never,
This
ever,
dude.
ever, ever, ever. Never, ever, 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 ever. Never will I say that you need money to survive. No, you choose. You choose. You choose to live a lifestyle that, in a way, sort of require, but it doesn't even do that. Like I've already illustrated, like I can circumvent the need of money if I just do an exchange of work for somebody else. So, you don't need it. It can just make life convenient. That's really the thing.
I'm gonna clip this segment. Just this is great. This is great. This is all great.
Yeah, I mean, money in society is extremely convenient. But a
It
fucking
is.
homeless dude can go behind a dumpster of Walmart where they just dumped out a bunch of good food, and he can get it for free. You can get it for
Money
free.
is
You can go dumpster diving and get food for free.
money is
Like,
also very convenient and prominently used. So of course you're born into a life where you have people that are using money as a tool of leverage, of course, in their life.
yes.
To get one thing, you got to get another. To get another thing, you need money to get that. And of course, now you're consuming yourself you're conditioning yourself to think that the next thing you need in your life is because you need money. Well, there it goes. There you go. So in a sense, we're conditioning ourselves to, or it's either we're conditioned or we're just too complacent or we're too ignorant to care, and we do it anyways.
It can be all three.
It could be all three. It could be all three.
Yeah, it's brainwashing, it's programming, and everybody's programmed at some level. This whole idea that there's some NPCs and then there's people that aren't NPCs, I think is total nonsense. I think we're all NPCs because we're all blind to some of our weaknesses. We're all blind to something. We're all programmed. Like, for instance, you can say I'm an NPC because when I see junk food, I fucking go ham. I can't control myself. The same way that you would call a leftist liberal NPC, a leftist liberal an NPC for just saying they voted for Biden because he's better than Trump, right? Like, it's the same thing. So next week on MOT Finance, we interview Jared, the homeless man who does
Oh my god! Oh my god! Hey, he could have some value to add.
He could.
You know what?
He
You know
could.
what? I will say, I would actually definitely see where people's perspectives are on finance.
I like that he said Jared too. The guy from Subway.
Oh my goodness!
The dude who got arrested because he's a freaking child toucher who used to do those.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he used to do
Ah,
Subway
dang!
commercials. Yeah,
Daggone shame. It's a daggone shame.
actually, I don't know if I don't know if they were children. They were like 15, 16, I think. So I don't want to.
Man.
I don't want to go down that whole rabbit hole. Anyway, but yeah, that was a good one.
That goes to show that, like, because the thing is with what I was saying is I've learned to appreciate money so much that I've learned that, and I've cut back on my expenses tremendously, that I don't really need it for the things that I was doing, that I was using it simply because it was there. And it was of of convenience. And since then, the way I see money now is completely different, because I was conditioned in that mindset where I need it, need it, need it, need it. But do I really need it for, gratification? That gratification comes within. It's what you do. It's how you use that money, right? It's how you apply yourself, how you've manifested that. And you've done your thorough amount of research. So, of course, you've earned your money. This is money well earned. So I just thought I'd close on that, get what I was speaking about way earlier into this, because
Right.
yeah, that's why I see money differently the way I once used to. But yeah, don't let money control you. Don't listen to these silly rap artists that all they talk about is the money that they've made and the exotic cars that they've bought. Like, do you ever watch those shows? I haven't watched it, but I've scrolled on Instagram, and I don't even know how this stuff goes into my feed, because I don't follow any of these kind of accounts. But like, there was this one video where this rich guy went into LA Customs and bought a car, and he was like, yeah, man, this is what money does. I'm like, okay, good for him. I don't care. I don't know why I'm being shown this kind of stuff. It's so like, then a huge ego manifests behind it. Cause like now it's a way in which you get things in life. It's attainable. It's like, it's a way that it's like you said, a lifestyle.
Yeah.
That ain't the lifestyle that I want to live.
Right. I mean, it's your choice. And, just to go on a quick aside here, because I feel like this is an important topic. Ego, people like to criticize ego, but if you don't have ego, you don't have yourself. If you don't have ego, you have literally nothing. Because all you have in this world is you. That's the only way you can experience this world is through you. All right? And ego literally means I am. Literally, you look up the definition of ego, it means I am. So if you have no ego, you have no I am. Then you are nothing. So you need ego. You need ego. Ego is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Why do you think most of the successful people in the world, like, for instance, Floyd Mayweather, people do not like Floyd Mayweather because he's arrogant, he's cocky, which he isn't arrogant. They use the word the wrong way. Arrogant means that you think that you're really good at something and you're not really good at something, but you are super confident about it. Confidence means that you are good at something, you can do that thing well, and you just talk about that thing. Okay, so Floyd Mayweather is a good example of this because the man has a large ego, a very large ego, but he backs it up. I thought it was a round waffle. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Thought it was a round waffle, yeah.
Anyway, ego is a necessity. Like, you need.
I think he's just trolling at this point.
I think so too. Like, you need to have ego to protect your family. You need to have like, if you didn't have ego, you wouldn't protect yourself. You wouldn't have the ability to protect yourself from any harm. The reason you protect yourself from harm is because of your ego.
Well, there's having an ego, and then there's being egotistical.
Let go of my That's what he was doing there. Let go of my ego. Ego. Good one, Mick, with your fucking
punny.
Right. Jesus, are we going to become this pun show now? No, egotistical is not a bad thing either. Like, you're going to be egotistical. If you have an ego, you are then going to be egotistical. Why is that a bad thing?
Well, I'm not saying that was a bad thing. I was just drawing a contrast. And
okay.
Society gives it a bad connotation. Society gives everything a bad connotation. Don't even let me get involved in that. Expand on that, because, man, and like you said, they're definitely using a lot of these words wrong, like with arrogance. Yeah, you actually explained it the way that it should be, but of course people will perceive it differently.
Yeah, just like another thing that I don't like is when I tell people that I'm ignorant on a subject. Every time I say that, people are like, "Oh no, you're not ignorant." It's if I just said something demeaning about myself, and I'm like, "No, look at the definition. I'm telling you, I don't know shit about the topic. I'm just using the word properly." That's the other thing that irritates me. People just don't. People don't use words properly. They don't know the definitions of words. And don't get me wrong, there have been times where I've used words incorrectly. But I try not to do that. If I don't really understand the meaning of a word, I won't say that word. But a lot of people, they just, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to go down that whole rabbit hole. But
it's too late. You're already there.
You're right.
It's all right.
But yeah, guys, this was MOT Finance, MOT Crypto, and I guess a little bit of advice, some things like that. Personal advice, shit like that. So maybe this will just be a mix of all that stuff. Because finances, realistically, let's say you get let's say you get money. What do you do with that money? Okay, like there's a lot of things that go into personal finance.
Yeah, that's why I think of finance as a broad term. That's why I classified it as that.
Yeah, like personal finance and personal development, I think go hand in hand. And so it wouldn't be bad to sort of blend the two together.
Do you want to call it MOT Finance Crypto or MOT Finance, or hey, I don't mind.
I don't know yet.
Well, folks, you've heard it here. To be determined.
So we'll come up with it. But all right, guys, we're about to get off of here. We've been going for almost an hour and a half. It's been a good one. It's been real, Malcolm. It's been good, man.
All right, man. I'll talk to you offline, man.
Sounds good.
All right. Peace out, everybody.